I really want to move on from this trans stuff, but it continues to dominate the headlines completely. Margaret Atwood, who wrote Handmaid's Tale, I believe. You know who she is, right? You're a fucking egghead reader. No. Right?
Never read that, but yeah, she did write that.
And she wrote a bunch of other stuff, poet. I mean, she's 84. I think she's Canadian because she lives in Canada. So the only people who live in Canada are Canadians. Nobody moves to Canada. That's another reason why they can really criticize us on immigration, because nobody leaves Mexico or Honduras and goes, you know what? I want to go live in a fucking icicle for 9 months out of the year. So if you're in Canada, it means you're from Canada and you're just there because, you know, we don't let you in unless you have some sort of exceptional talent like Martin Short. And so you end up just staying in Canada. So it's very easy for you to go, what? Hey, what's the problem, eh? Why are you so harsh at the border, eh? Hey, maybe it's because everyone's trying to get into this party and nobody wants to go to your lame-ass Trudeau-led party. Okay? Our party's kicking lounge life hits and rap, and people are twerking. Your party is just like people holding cosmopolitans and saying, hey, nobody wants to go to your party, Canada. So I assume she's Canadian because I know she lives in Canada, like all Canadians. And she got in fucking hot water for tweeting an article that she shared, not written by her, written by somebody else. The title was, Why Can't We Say Woman? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on, let me see the tweet. Why can't we say woman anymore? Question mark. If milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard, why can't we say woman in your tweet is going to bring all the trans activists to your mentions. And that's exactly what happened. And Margaret Atwood joins Dave Chappelle and J.K. Rowling's as America's axis of evil. The three North American fascist Nazis who have traditionally been ultra-liberal, one of which is a Muslim black man. The other two are regarded as two of the most champion feminists you can imagine. When I went to her Twitter mentions, because going to Twitter mentions is just a fun thing when you go to see the ratio. And the people who were drag her girl, were all saying, used to be such a fan. One of my idols, sad to see one of my idols promote T.U.R.F. dog whistles. This will lead to trans death. I don't know how we've gotten to the point where asking the question, is it okay to still say woman, leads to the murder of a trans youth. But that's exactly what will happen to you if you ask the question, why can't we say women anymore? Do you understand the world we're living in right now? If I call a woman, I could go to jail pretty soon. And look, don't get me wrong. I don't really care about this. This is really a woman's fight. And I would like to see it. I want to see trans women versus women. Now, the advantage that trans women may have in an open field, hand-to-hand combat war, MMA Russian style, where they do groups. There's this Russian sport where there's just groups of MMA fighters on two teams and they just fight each other. I want to see that with the TERFs versus the women. Okay, now here's the deal. The trans women may have a little advantage according to real TERFs. I'm talking about anti-trans people, quote unquote, allegedly, who claim that they have an advantage in sports because of greater bone density, okay? So you may have a few bigger girls on that side. There may be a few bigger girls. There may be a few handsomer women on that side. who could maybe take 2 or 3 people with wombs. The women may be able to take a few people with wombs. I'm going to try to do this very politically correct. So there will be women on one side, on the other side, and we'll throw in their allies too, because those allies don't lift weights. So throw them in there anyway. So it's the women, and all their allies versus people with wombs who obviously don't have that bone density advantage, but they do have the numbers advantage, which is very wild that so many of them on that side are in opposition to what the women are saying. But these people of wombs, they can't get unified. They're not even unified on whether Erica knew her husband was stealing all that money on Real Housewives, let alone unified on, hey, maybe we should tell these trans activists to go fuck themselves because I gave birth and stitch up my pussy. And if I want to call myself a woman, I'm gonna. Because unless you can push something the size of a fucking watermelon outside of something the size of my tight little kiwi pussy, you ain't a woman, sister. You're a trans woman. That's fine. I'll call you she. I'll call you whatever the fuck you want. But I fucking pushed something out and I had to get my fucking pussy sewn up. But they can't come together and say that because they're people with wombs. And people with wombs have, as you know, smaller brains. They have smaller brains and they don't know how to unify. Okay? All they know how to do is throw pussies on their hats and hit the streets. But on that side, we'll also include, so there's going to be a lot of them. What are they, 52% of the population? So, but 52 of them won't come out. So let's say about 15%. It'll be like a WNBA game. It'll be like a WNBA championship parade. There'll just be people walking to work and a few young girls who love Ellen, if you know what I mean, who aspire to be on the Los Angeles Sparks or whatever the WNBA team names are. I don't know, the Liberty. So there won't be a lot of show from the peoples with wombs. So we'll have to reinforce them with the lesbians because the lesbians will show. Lesbians got each other's backs and they carry baseball bats. Remember, they are the Marines of gentrification. They go into the toughest neighborhoods first, buy cheap property, and open a lesbo bar. It's the first thing they do, and they start a softball game. And those bitches are not to be fucked with, okay? They're the first in, the lesbians. They're in. They come in there with their goddamn sweaters, and they drink beers, they roll up their sleeves, and they play kickball. Now, the lesbians and the trans activists are at odds because, as I said, this BBC article, which is also being called a national tragedy, is lesbians who are talking openly about the pressure they are feeling from their friends and trans people to hook up with trans women. And if they don't hook up with trans women, they're TERFs. Or, here's another one I like. They are genital fetishists. And that's a pejorative, meaning if you were a genital fetishist, you are also a TERF, meaning that if a woman has a penis and you don't want to hook up with her, that means that you're discriminating against trans people. I am not making this up. You cannot demonetize me for telling exactly what's in the article. Now, you want to know my personal opinion? If I was a woman and I met a woman out and I didn't know she had a piece, even if I'm a man, I'm still going through with it. Okay? I'm getting down to the nitty gritty. When I get to the middle of the Tootsie Pop, I'm going, okay, I guess we're doing something different tonight. Looks like you got a horn, madam. No biggie. I am not a genital fetishist. If a woman is hot, she's hot. Okay? Obviously, I prefer the calamari. But if we're dealing with a hot chick and I get down to the middle of the Tootsie Pop and she's got a little bit of a horniness antenna, big deal. We just do it doggy style and I just pretend like my dick was so big I broke through to the other side. Use your imagination. My personal opinion, I don't have a problem. But some people aren't attracted to penises, whether they're on women or men. Sexuality is a spectrum. Go figure. And isn't it so ironic that trans activists are discriminating against lesbians for having a particular sexual preference? Isn't that ironic that they're bullying them for not wanting to be lesbians with trans women? Saying that's not normal and you're bad. Isn't that fucking hypocritical? Oh, God. You know, I want to say that I'm brilliant, but you don't have to be brilliant to make these points in these. That's why there's so many successful internet pundits right now, because if this wasn't such a crazy era, they would just be teaching class in whatever dumb university they were teaching in. But now all you got to do is go on the internet and say something semi-rational and reasonable and something that is just we all believe but we're scared to say, and everyone turns you into a thought leader. Just ordinary professors from classrooms in the universities you've never heard of. Not even fucking Harvard or Yale, any of that shit. Some fucking college in the middle of Maine, you know? They get canceled, and then all of a sudden they show up on some fucking mega podcast and say, you know what? I think there's a difference between trans women and women. I have a hunch. And then people are going like, wow, this person is a member of the dark, dark web, and they're a thought leader. I just said something that this is hypocritical, that lesbians are discriminating against, trans people are discriminating against lesbians for their sexual preference. And it even felt like an amazing point to me. Like, I was like, oh my God, am I that smart? And then I realized, oh God, no. It's just I'm still semi-sane, which is a bad sign. That's a bad sign, Bubba Lubbas. That is a bad sign. When Yanni can say he feels semi-sane with an argument. Go read the article for yourself. BBC. Did you pull it up? Yeah, what's the title? Go read it for yourself so you know I'm not being a TERF. We're being pressured into sex by some trans women by Carolyn Lowbridge. The BBC. This isn't fucking newsmax.org. This is the BBC. And you read it for yourself. Can you scroll down? Because there's some good parts of it. I've had someone saying they would rather kill me than Hitler, says 24-year-old lesbian Jenny. They said they would strangle me with a belt if they were in a room with me and Hitler. This was so bizarrely violent just because I won't have sex with trans women. You bitch. Jenny is a lesbian woman. She's only attracted to women who are biologically female. TERF. She therefore only has sex and relationships with women who are biologically female. Well, you can choose to do that, or you can be murdered in a hotel room. She doesn't think this should be controversial, but not everyone agrees. She's been described as transphobic, my favorite, a genital fetishist, a pervert, and of course, a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist. A trans exclusionary radical feminist. So join the club, Jenny. You now stand with J.K. Rowling's, Margaret Atwood, and other very progressive liberal women. Oh. So I don't know. I don't want to keep talking about this, but it's kind of like a layup. It's like I'm on the layup lines and the game hasn't even started yet.